go out to Justine in Providence, Rhode Island. Hey, Justine, what's happening?
Hi, Dr. Delony. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in. Can't complain.
All right. What's up? You could complain. And then you sound like one of our politicians. What's up?
So I guess my main question is, how do I mourn my mother, who is still very much alive? And second question is, how do I get my heart to agree with my brain in that it's time to end that relationship?
What has happened that brought you here? That's one of the most sacred relationships, a mother and her daughter. What happened?
Yeah, and I'm going to try to get to this without getting emotional. But
hey, get as emotional as you can. I mean, this is few things are more emotional than this moment. Is having a funeral for somebody that's still alive.
Yeah, it's been awful. So I guess long story short, my mom is she has battled a prescription pill addiction for about 13, 14 years.
Oh man, that's the devil, dude. It's the devil.
It's awful. And on top of that, she is borderline personality disorder.
Phew.
And so, she had me very young. I had a very tumultuous childhood. I've finally kind of come to a place in my life. I'm 34 now, where I am married to a wonderful man. I have a stable home. We just had our first child 5 months ago.
Congrats. How's that going?
Thank you. Oh, he's just amazing. He's wonderful.
I know he probably is. How are you?
I'm doing really well with all of that. But the problem is that even though she's been crazy for my whole life, and then when the pills started, it was like a whole different kind of crazy. I still somehow had this idea in my head that if I was able to make my life as perfect as possible and give her the beautiful grandchild and do all these things, that she would see that and want to be well so that she could be a part of it. And even though I knew that wasn't reality, there was still a part of me that was like, well, just keep doing this and that. And here I am, thinking, well, maybe my mom will show up for me. And she just hasn't. And now that I'm a mother myself, it's different now because, she has been violent and the cops get involved every other week and the drugs back and forth. And I can't have my kid around that. I can't have my kid exposed to those things. And now I'm just...
Justine, this has never been your job. And I'm so sorry it has been for 34 years.
Yeah, it's been awful. Like I've had to have her committed on a 5150 before, flown across the country to put her into rehab.
But listen, this has never been your fault.
I know.
You know that intellectually. I'm trying to say it to where your heart can hear it.
Right, and that's the problem.
It was never your job. And now, tell me if I'm wrong. You're holding this beautiful 5-month-old baby.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes real in a different way. It's very intellectual when you're a kid and your mom and you're trying to survive. And you know how to talk to your mom and de-escalate her and things like, I don't want her to go to jail and I don't want her to die. Like, those are all intellectual pursuits. They're very, very real and tangible.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you hold your baby, it's like, how in the hell could you choose all that over this? Right?
Yes, absolutely.
It almost makes you insane because that math just simply doesn't compute.
Yes.
And then you go from, oh my gosh, I've been keeping you alive for 29 years or 30 years or 33 years or 34 years to rage. Fair?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. How dare you? When you see how innocent and beautiful and wonderful this is, right? How dare you?
Yes.
And so, the hardest question is, when are you going to let go? Here's what you're doing. I'm going to give you a crass example. You keep showing up at your local Burger King, walking in and making burgers. And they're like, you don't work here. And you're like, nah, I'm great at this. I can make good Whoppers.
Yeah.
And then you go work the register, and they're like, you literally don't work here. And you're like, yeah, I'm good at this, though. And you are pretty good at it. And every time you leave, they're like, I mean, I'll take the free labor, but she doesn't even work here. It's not her job.
Yep.
So when
Yeah.
you talked about you talked about your baby doesn't deserve to be around this. You don't want your husband around this crap.
Mm-mm.
When are you going to start caring about Justine?
Well, and that's the thing is that, my head tells me that. My head's like, you don't deserve this. She has, through her behavior, has opted out of relationship with me. She doesn't want to be well. And, that's her saying, I don't care. I want to live my life and be a lunatic, and that's just what it's going to be. But my heart is saying, well, it's the only mother you've got. Well, one day she's not going to be here, and you're going to be sorry. You couldn't just put up with it. And like,
I'm going to tell you something awful. Can I tell you an awful truth?
Yes, you can.
When she's gone, you will feel a relief and a peace that you did not know existed.
I already, yeah,
and then
I understand that.
You will beat yourself up for the next decade out of guilt for feeling that way.
Yeah.
You will exhale in a way that you did not know was possible. And then you'll feel so bad for doing it.
Yep. I've anticipated that. Yeah, it's just awful.
It is.
So, I mean, I've cut all communications with her, and it's holidays, and it's especially hard around the holidays. Just not having your mom, not having your kids spend their first Christmas with their grandmother,
and it's her that left you,
right?
Okay. And I have a special place in my soul for people who struggle with addiction. I've walked with them. I've sat with them. I have it. And most of my career has been spent picking up relational shrapnel from the path of destruction people struggling with addiction leave on their loved ones, their kids, their spouses, right? So I have a deep compassion, and I also have a reality. Okay? One of the hardest things in the world to do, I think, is to watch a loved one who's an adult make choices that will destroy them, and they do not want your support or help or input.
That's correct.
It's devastating.
It's a slow motion train wreck that you're watching.
And here's what makes it worse. You could stop it. Sort of. As your nonsensical control over every variable of the world lies to you and tells you you can. You can't stop it, Justine. You can't. Mm-hmm. What you can do is get yourself stuck between that brick wall that's coming and the train and get yourself killed too.
Mm-hmm.
You can destroy your marriage. You can put your kid in situations that makes your kid incredibly unsafe.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And that I can't allow either of those things.
That's right. So I'm going to give you the same advice I've given 1,000 times on this show. And I'm going to add one caveat to it. And it's going to require some homework from you. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you willing to try?
Absolutely.
And listen, if this tanks, if this does not work, I want you to call me back. I've never had somebody say it doesn't work, but I'm sure they've tried it and it hasn't. But every single person who's done this has said, I hate the fact that this worked as effectively as it did. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's going to take 3 weeks. Start now. And we're recording this show about 4 weeks outside of Christmas. If you start right now, you can land this plane right on Christmas Day. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
It will not feel good. All right?
Okay.
I want you, number one, to set a timer for 20 to 30 minutes. You get to pick. And I want you to write a letter to your mother about all the amazing things she gave you, she brought you. And it could be backhanded compliments like, I'm so strong because I had to learn how to navigate the mental health system. And I had to learn how to do inpatient paperwork for my mom when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
You taught me what love looks like because you kept coming back even though you were stoned out of your mind or you wouldn't take your meds, right? Like, I want you to write a love letter to your mom saying thank you.
Okay.
That's week 1. I want you to write that on a Monday, and I want you to read that letter every day the rest of the week. Okay?
Yep.
Second week, I want you to write a letter that starts, "Dear Mom, how dare you?" And this one might be more than 30 minutes, but this is where the anger and the frustration and the rage and the heartbreak come out on paper.
Yeah.
Remember that time you left me when I was 7? Remember that time you had 3 men spending the night in our house and fill in the blank?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have done that to a little girl. You shouldn't have. You see what I'm saying? I want you to write that letter. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
The following week, I want you to write a letter. "Dear Mom, let me tell you about my life now. I want you to describe how amazing your husband is and what he brings to you, how he makes you feel stable, whole, loved, and seen. I want you to tell your mom about your new baby. How amazing the birth process was. Did she miss it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you missed. It was amazing. And here's what this letter is. It is, Mom, here's the daughter you raised. Here's what you're going to miss. And I'm going to miss you. This is the heartbreak letter, but it's the truth-telling letter. Okay?
Yeah.
And as we roll into Christmas, this is number 4, and this is the hard one. And you're like, the other 3 kind of suck. This is number 4. It's hard because it's into the future. I want you to write a letter to your new baby. And I want you to read that letter. I want you to record yourself reading that letter to your baby. "Dear sweetheart, you've brought me light. I want you to tell that baby what their life is going to be like, how they're going to be loved, and how they're going to be seen. And when mom's not well, which you're going to have seasons when you're not well too, that you're going to go get help. I want you to make commitments. I want you to talk to that baby through that letter, and I want there to be a recording of it."
Yeah.
Okay? And I think that could be a magical Christmas gift for what will be an almost 6-month-old.
Yep.
Is that cool?
Okay. Absolutely.
And I want you to look around the room on Christmas morning, and your mom won't be there, and it's okay to weep.
Yeah.
It's okay to be really sad. And like that third letter, it's okay to be like, man, this is what we got. This is our picture. We're going to paint it.
Mm-hmm.
We thought we were painting landscapes. Well, we're painting dinosaurs now, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be a real gangster, when you write these letters, I want you to read them out loud to your husband, maybe a couple of your girlfriends. I want you to read it out loud.
Okay.
As the great David Kessler says, I say this all the time, grief demands a witness.
Yep.
Bringing somebody else in and just reading it out loud. There probably is some stories your husband has no idea that you experienced. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You probably have 3 or 4 close girlfriends that love you upwards and downwards and sideways and backwards and forwards, and they don't know what you've been through.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell them, hey, Tuesday, we're going for coffee. I had to write this letter because this moron on this YouTube show told me to do this, and I got to read it to you. And it's tough. And so y'all bring grown-up drinks, and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And expect to have both things on Christmas morning. Relief, peace, and grief, heartbreak. Mom should be there. Grandma should be there for babies first, and she's not. And thank God she didn't bring that chaos here. If you are struggling with addiction and you happen to be listening to the show, whether it's pornography, whether it's pills, whether it's whatever, what's alcohol, gambling, give yourself the gift of freedom this Christmas and call somebody, please. You're worth so much more. And as you've heard from Justine, you can't get clean for other people. You can only get clean for yourself. But, man, your people in your life that you love and who love you, they deserve that too. Make a call. Justine, you're awesome. Anytime I can help, holler at me. I'd love to hear how this process goes. Call me after Christmas and let me know. Whew. Both and. Proud of you.